Have you ever been hiking and come across a rattlesnake, especially a really big one that ate something? I mean, coming within a foot or two of like a 6-foot plus rattlesnake. It's kind of scary. Well, what happened was, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago in Arkansas. At that point we were living in Oklahoma, and two of my nephews were with me and a friend of ours, and we were hiking, and we had gone up to the upper Buffalo River in northern Arkansas, and we had about 2 days. Well, we're going to be out there for about 2.5 days, 2 nights. And so it's crazy with that place because I'm not used to it, but you park up top because the river's down low. Now there are places that you do go up in Arkansas, but in this case we were up high, and then we hiked down to the river. So the hard part of the hike was always getting back out. This was our first trip to the upper Buffalo River, and we were hiking down, beautiful day, and there was 5 of us. So it was Brian who was in front of us, and then my son was after him, and then Christopher and Steven, my 2 nephews, and then lastly me. Now, not because I couldn't keep up with them, it was early in the hike, I just, for whatever reason, I was at the back. Well, so we're hiking down this trail, and we're maybe a mile into it, and all of a sudden my son jumps. No, it wasn't even my son. Brian had already walked by, and I guarantee you the snake was there. And so my son walks up to it and stops, and I don't know if it was my nephew Christopher who saw it, but they jumped back. They were within feet of this snake, and Brian had walked right on by it. And then, of course, everybody was like, oh my gosh! And there was this huge rattlesnake. Now, I might be lying if I said it was 8 foot long, but I would say, okay, 5 to 7 feet long. Pretty big rattlesnake. So once we got over our shock of seeing this snake, because I've seen a bull snake before in Oregon or Southern Oregon, and they look a lot like rattlesnakes, but this one here was definitely a rattlesnake, and it was curled up right in the middle of the trail. And then it was, of course, it was curled up, and the rattle was going like crazy. And so it was very steep trail. It was hard to get around this snake. Now, I guarantee if we were some outdoor wildlife lover and had a show, that we would be like, oh my gosh, look at this snake, it's a beauty, right? Well, we weren't quite that way. But it was right there. It was hard to get around. And I know some of you probably give me some grief on this, but we're looking at this snake, and it's really big, and it's big fat snake. And so, for us, we're thinking, hey, we got to get on our hike. We can't get around the snake, and it could really hurt us. And so this is where some of you aren't probably going to like me. I got out my 40 cal handgun, and everybody got back, and I took a shot at it. 10 shots. No, not... No, just joking, just 1 shot. Well, then the snake just, stretches out long ways because I had shot it and it's hurt. And, well, I don't know if snakes can get hurt or if they scream or not. I didn't hear anything. Well, so all of a sudden there's this big hole in the snake, and we see something furry inside. And so, making sure that the snake is dead and not going to bite us anymore. I don't know, I think maybe my nephew had cut off the head, possibly, but we wanted to make sure it was dead. And it's been 15 years, so I've probably forgotten some of the story. Well, the snake is dead, and then we go to, opening it up, cutting it open, and there was this really big squirrel inside the snake, which was really cool to see that. And of course, we killed the snake, sorry. And we were looking at it and it was like, that is so cool. And then we realized that this snake was lethargic or really laid back because it had just eaten and is probably trying to digest the food and relax, as many of us do after we eat. So we were talking and thinking about it. It's like, that snake probably didn't strike because it had just eaten. And if it hadn't just eaten, it could have been a completely different story. So we're hanging out here, looking at this awesome big snake, and we're thinking, hey, that rattle would be really cool to keep. So we cut the rattle off and we put it in a bag. And then we proceeded to move the snake off the trail and went on our hike. But again, if I were doing that over again, not that I'm more mature or smarter now and just a more environmentalist, I don't know, I would have probably tried to figure out a way to go around the snake rather than kill it. That's most of the story, but what I did when I got back home is I figured out how to get all of the material or blood or whatever what's in the tail or close to it, and we soaked it. I looked up how to do it, and I don't remember exactly how, but we soaked it, and it got rid of all the stuff, all of the biological material, and then I gave it to my nephew Christopher to make a necklace out of it. And he did make a necklace. Now, I don't know what happened to that necklace. I saw him at a wedding here recently in California where he got married, and he wasn't wearing the rattlesnake necklace at the wedding. I'm like, really? I mean, a life and death situation, and you aren't wearing it around your neck at the wedding? I mean, everybody should know. Well, that's the end of my story, but I really want to let all of you know that there's going to be a lot of podcasts coming out, short stories at least, at the beginning. And later on, what I want to do is I want to go interview, whether they're fire departments, search and rescue teams, helicopter pilots, or even people that have survived something or know of somebody who's been in a bad situation, and how you contact SOS and two-way message when you are outside of cell service. So you're going to see a lot more of that, so watch out for them, and I'll see you back out here in Colorado with another story in the near future.